friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. I am meal prepping 16 breakfasts this afternoon, 4 different flavors. We're doing overnight oats, and some will actually be breakfast, some will be snacks, just depending on what time of day my husband and kiddos and myself want to eat them. But overnight oats is a fantastic, just quick breakfast, quick snack. It makes use of a pantry staple oats, and it's another way to incorporate and use oats. They're frugal, they're healthy, and they're shelf stable, and it's just a fantastic way to stretch your budget. But also, using overnight oats, it's a fantastic way to prevent like food fatigue, because you're not just eating oatmeal with it or just granola. It's just one more way to use something that we absolutely love, which is oats. Okay, so I'm going to bring you over here, give you a little headshot overview, and we're going to get started. 16 jars, 4 different flavors. Let's go. Welcome to Food Prep Guide. My name is Jordan. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3, living on 3 beautiful acres with my wonderful husband. A health crisis forced our family to change the way we think about food. Unfortunately, it also put us in financial hardship. Thankfully, the solution to both challenges was the same: to live off the land as much as possible. For us, that means growing a garden, preserving the harvest, raising chickens, and cooking from scratch. It's definitely a family affair. And friends too. Meet Stacy, researcher, author, and lifelong learner. She entered the world of food preservation in the crazy days of 2020. She joined a gleaning co-op, and a local grocer offered her clearance produce in bulk, and so the adventure began. Together, we're reclaiming the old ways of food stewardship and teaching them to the next generation. If there's one thing you should know about us, it's that we love Jesus and seek to steward his blessings wisely. Our table always has room for one more, so y'all come join us. So the base recipe for all of these overnight oats is going to be the same, and that's going to be half a cup of oats, half a cup of milk, and 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. So I'm going to start out just getting the base laid out for all 16 jars. Okay, so next I'm going to go through and add a tablespoon of chia seeds to each jar. The chia seeds, in case if you've never worked with them, if you've never worked with chia seeds before, they absorb liquid big time, and they almost turn into like a type of jelly ball. And it's just a fantastic way to get more of a pudding type consistency to your overnight oats. And I find that 1 tablespoon is enough to get a nice thick pudding-like consistency without it being too chia seedy. They don't have much of a taste. They kind of take on whatever taste you put them in, so they're fantastic, they're versatile, but they are also filling because they absorb, I think it's something like 8 or 10 times their weight, but it might even be more than that, I'm not sure. But it's a lot, and because of that, it can help you feel fuller for longer. Okay, so after that, we're going to add our milk. Now, I will do almond milk, I'll do coconut milk, and I'll just do regular milk. It just depends on what we have on hand and what I'm feeling like. I really like to do vanilla, unsweetened vanilla almond milk is my absolute favorite. But I'm running low on that, and I need that for my breakfast smoothies in the morning. So we're just going to go ahead and use oats this round. And we're going to use half a cup of milk as well. So it's basically equal parts oats and liquid is basically the basic recipe, because you can do more or less depending on who you're feeding and how many people you're feeding. But I find that this portion is a good amount to satisfy all of us. I'm not worried about making a big mess right now. I'll clean up my counters when I'm done. That's one thing I love about meal prepping, is I'm getting all this stuff out once. I'm getting it all dirty once, and at the end of it, I'm putting, you know, in this case, 16 meals in the refrigerator. But a lot of times when we're canning, we're putting, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 meals on the shelf. So I love prepping in large batches like this. It saves so much time. Okay, and that is the base for each jar. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a spoon and just stir each one. Get it nice and get all those chia seeds nice and covered in the milk, as well as the oats. We still need to add our flavorings to make them nice and unique. I'll do that in just a second. Okay, now for the fun part, the flavorings. The first one we're going to do is just a strawberry jam flavor. And I had some strawberry jam that we canned a couple months ago that didn't set fully. So for instance, I have some that did set, like right here, big nice chunks that set, but then I have a lot of some liquid in here that really didn't set good. So this is a fantastic use for jams and jellies that maybe didn't set up quite right. They make fantastic overnight oat flavorings. So here I don't measure, I don't do a particular amount each time, but for the strawberry, I'm just going to do, I just have a big tablespoon, and I'm just going to do our dinner size spoon, and I'm just going to do 2 scoops of that into each container. And of course the flavorings are just to taste. It's just however you want to do it. This strawberry jam is pretty sweet, so I'm not adding any extra sweetener to this. I'm going to go ahead and stir it. And just a quick note on the amount. I when I first did this, I was like, oh, I could do this in a 1/2 pint jar. And I did. I did it in a 1/2 pint jar. And what I found was, even though it only contains about 1 cup of, go shoe fly, about 1 cup of product, it made it very hard to stir without making a big mess in those 1/2 pint jars. So now I just prep them in pint jars. Even though they only get about halfway full, I still prep them in pint jars so I don't have to be so slow and meticulous in mixing, and I don't have to make such a big mess. So once they're stirred, they're done. So this strawberry flavor is done. I'm going to wash my spoon and then start on the next flavor. Okay, next flavor is going to be a pear vanilla, and this one is one of our absolute favorites. So again, we're going to be starting with some some jelly. This is pear jelly, and this did set up good, so it's going to be nice and thick. And again, I'm going to do 2 scoops per jar. Okay, now for the vanilla. I used to measure a teaspoon, but now I just don't even measure because I just eyeball it. And really, can you have a little bit too much vanilla? It's hard to get too much vanilla. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a pour of vanilla into each one. And this vanilla, y'all, oh man, it pairs so well with pear jam or pear jelly. And really, vanilla extract pairs well with so many other things. We do like a pumpkin spice one sometimes, and we do like a pumpkin spice vanilla. Whew, so good. So again, I'm just gonna stir. Okay, next flavor is chocolate peanut butter. And what we're going to do, we're not going to be using any processed sugar for this, and I do measure with a tablespoon for this one. I'm going to get just raw cocoa powder, and we're going to do 1 tablespoon per jar. And then I'm going to take my just dinner-sized spoon again and do 1 small scoop of peanut butter per jar. Not a full sized, not covering the whole spoon. So I don't want it to be too peanut buttery. I've made that mistake before, and a little bit of peanut butter goes a long way in this recipe. Okay, so that takes care of the chocolate and the peanut butter, and now we do need to sweeten it just a tad with stevia. We use liquid stevia for when we're sweetening teas, smoothies, a lot of our desserts. We use this liquid stevia. We love the Better Stevia brand. We get it from Vitacost. I think you can find it on Amazon too. I'll try to find that for you and link it below. But again, little goes a very long way with stevia. So I'm only going to be doing about 5 drops per jar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes a little bit extra gets in there. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then stir. This one is probably the hardest to stir because of that peanut butter, but it still stirs good. I do spend a little bit longer stirring this one than the others though, just to make sure that peanut butter is well incorporated. That's one reason I was just thinking about that pear vanilla, and I'm smelling the vanilla still, and it just smells so good. It's just got me thinking about that's one reason why I really love using vanilla almond milk, because it gives just a hint of vanilla to all. It just adds a hint of vanilla to like the base recipe for all the different flavors, and it is so good. And I like that it's non-dairy or dairy-free. But we need to get to the grocery store and get some more, so I needed to not use up all my almond milk. Okay, let me pop that in the sink. Okay, last but not least is blueberry vanilla. This is another use for jams and jellies, and this actually has some vanilla in the original recipe, but I'm actually going to be adding just a tad bit more. It also has pumpkin spice in it. I'm just going to add 1 good thick scoop per jar. We made these jams and jellies together on camera, so I will link those in the description box below if you're interested in making any of these. Even if just to make overnight oats and give it lots of variety. And I'm just going to add a little bit more vanilla to each one, just a tiny splash. Even though that jam recipe already has a little bit of vanilla in it, like I said, it's just absolutely delicious in overnight oats. Okay, give it a good stir. I just remembered that I meant to use a wooden spoon this time. I've noticed that when I make this, I'm chinking that metal spoon against the glass, and that can't be good for my jars. And I remember telling myself, you know, next time I'm going to use a wooden spoon and flip it upside down and use the handle to mix it. And I totally forgot again. But I would recommend that because it's not going to be good to be chinking your mason jars, which, you know, would be good for canning. You don't want to be chinking those with a metal utensil like this frequently, especially if you like make overnight oats, you know, once a month. This is happening pretty often, so just a little tip to keep in mind. Okay, we're done. Let me bring you up close. Show you each jar from on top. This is the strawberry jam. This is the pear vanilla. Doesn't look like much right now, but it is going to gel up and be absolutely delicious. Peanut butter chocolate, sweetened with stevia, and our blueberry vanilla. So good. And there we have it, 16 jars. That took me, what, 10, 15 minutes? Not long at all. Hope y'all try it and hope y'all enjoy. We'll see you next time. Bye.